But this whole time, as you're doing this, at the same time, you're listening to music. You're going to shows all the time. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the Bad Brains show up.
That was a changer. That was a game changer. They were as groundbreaking as far as, for me, they rocked my world as much as like the Sex Pistols. Like it was like all of a sudden it was a new chapter.
The way you wrote about the Bad Brains. So the Bad Brains, for those of you that don't know, is a band from DC, and they were pivotal in changing music, really a generation of music. And there's all kinds of bands that reference them, like big bands that reference the Bad Brains. But here's what you said about the Bad Brains.
Well, one thing,
go ahead.
Just for those who don't know, they were not only one of the innovators of what we call hardcore punk, but they were all black, and they were from DC, and there was not many black kids on the scene. There always was black kids on the scene. There was always Puerto Ricans. It was always everybody. It was always mixed diversity on the scene, but they were like the best. They were the tightest. They were the best. They were the shit, man. And a lot of times when people first heard their first 45, just because of the style of the music, people didn't even know they were black, and they'd go see them and they'd be like, oh shit, these guys are black. Now that may not seem like a big deal now, but we're talking about fucking 1980.
Yeah.
And they were just they were the shit, man. And then they got into Rastafarianism, and that, even further made it even more bizarre. A bunch of fucking Rastas from DC playing hardcore.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? And playing it better than everybody, like fucking smoking motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you got to see the Bad Brains back in the day, you're lucky. I mean, I remember seeing the Bad Brains and just being... it's just sick.
I mean, it'd be like seeing James Brown back when he had Bootsy Collins on bass, like back in the old, like when he was like all over the. I always used to liken HR to like James Brown meets Johnny Rotten.
Yeah. Here's what you said. Back to the book. You hear a lot of crazy stories about HR. HR is the singer from the Bad Brains' throat in the Bad Brains. But as crazy as HR can act at times, back in the day, he was inspirational beyond belief. He and the Bad Brains had the entire New York hardcore scene talking like fucking Jamaicans for the longest time. Everybody was like, fire burning, blood clot. It was hysterical. Bands like The Mob were so heavily influenced by them that the bass player started growing dreads and wearing a Rasta hat. A whole contingent of white Rastas started popping up on the hardcore scene. They took things to another level. It was impossible not to be inspired by the Bad Brains. The only way to describe HR would be like James Brown meets Johnny Rotten meets Bob Marley. He was such a dynamic front man. HR could do a standing backflip and land right at the end of the song, nail it right at the last beat. It was like, oh my God, did he just plan that? I remember one time at A7, which was a tiny club, within the first 2 minutes or so of their show, he had already knocked the sheetrock ceiling out and bent the mic stand in half. The amount of explosive energy that would come out of that motherfucker, you couldn't help but be blown away. Especially since we were all young, and here was this guy that was in shape. He used to be a javelin thrower back in high school. He was always athletic, so you had a bunch of scrawny punk rock motherfuckers, and then this dude's up there that was an athletic powerhouse going completely apeshit. And he could sing his ass off, and he could hit notes. HR came out there with a purpose, like he was on a mission. Every show I saw of theirs back then was amazing. I remember I saw him up in Boston one time, and he was like there was, I guess, like fire pipes or whatever, sprinkler pipes, and he's leaping up and swinging on those things and jumping off in the crowd. Yeah. It was nuts.
He was a motherfucker, man. He spent half the show in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like he was, you can't, you just can't even, yeah, man, they were something. Everybody has that moment though, that period where they really, well, not everybody, but everybody who's like intense, you think about your life, you can think of that one period where you were just on fucking point, and they
started
were
when I was like 16 and it ended like last week.
All right, well, it didn't last quite that long for some of us, But yeah, there was a period when they were just fucking untouchable.
And have you seen HR now?
Yeah, I've seen him over the
Have you
past
actually
few years.
like seen him, talk to him?
Last time I spoke to him and he came out to my house was probably around 2011 or 2010, and he's definitely he's got some issues. He has suffered some serious. He has like mental issues. I mean, I don't know what his diagnosis is. I'm not going to stand here and pretend to know, but it's
But you can tell there's a clear change between that guy from back in the day to the guy now. There's something there's
definitely
clearly
something
a
clearly
psychological
wrong,
difference.
and you can't just blame it all on drugs because, some of us have done plenty of them and are fine. So I mean,
there's something in it.
And it's really sad.
They're playing sometimes.
Well, I don't know.
Chicago or
I don't know when or what they're doing and playing. I mean, and God bless him. Dr. No. He suffered a stroke and a heart attack, and he had to like learn how to use his hand again and everything. I actually did a benefit show, a record that's available on Pledge Music. It's the only place you can get it. You can't even buy it in stores, and 48% of the music goes to help him. Just help him.
Awesome.
To whatever he needs help with. Because God knows he's.
Pledge Music.
Yeah.
And what do you just search Pledge Music?
Yeah, Pledge Music, Harley Flanagan, and the song will come up. It's one of the songs is called "Friends Like You," and but anyway, yeah. I mean, those guys were intense. I mean, it'll never be what it was. I'm glad that they're doing their thing or whatnot. But I think my memory of them is from that period.
Yeah. And you probably saw, how many times did you see them? It's unlimited time. Dozens.
I have no idea. I saw them so many times. I saw them out on the West Coast, and excuse me. Yeah,
I saw them in Tijuana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but HR wasn't with them, so it was kind of like, cool, but not as cool. No offense to the other dude.
No.
The other dude
they had
good
other
voice.
singers who were really
great dudes,
great singers, but it's really hard to follow in someone like that's footsteps. I mean, it's really impossible.
That's a rough follow-on shot.